Hi, thanks for joining us today with Millennials in Motion. My name's Angel. I got Mhansi here from 5Rs and the Sierra Club, and this is Conversations with the Community. And how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Yeah, just got fed, and now I am ready to talk about our environment and everything that's been going on lately. What about with you?
Awesome. Don't fall asleep
Don't
because
fall
of
asleep.
the food coma.
It was really good. I went and had eggs Benedict. Have you eaten today?
Yes, I have. I had a slice of pizza and coffee
Nice.
from Starbucks.
Oh, breakfast of champions right there. So you're here with 5Rs, and can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So, the 5-hour revolution is about the environment, and our committee is a subcommittee from Sierra Club. And Sierra Club is a nonprofit organization that's well known in the United States and around the world, and they have a lot of subcommittees around the world.
Yeah, and then I haven't heard a lot about the 5Rs. I've known that we had the 3Rs, but the 5Rs is like a new term that we're trying to replace with the 3Rs of like reduce, reuse, recycle. So with that is the Sierra Club who made up the 5Rs revolution, or are they taking that from an existing idea and are really just trying to push it forward?
So, the way 5-hour revolution was created is initially it was the recycling committee. That was what I was part of, and we had a different chairperson. And this was earlier last year.
Yeah.
And then this year, the chairperson decided to step down. And so then I decided to step up as chairperson. And I just felt like the name Recycling Committee was a little bit too, not boring, but like there was no spice to it. So I was like, okay, I didn't want to focus the committee on recycling because there's a lot of issues with recycling.
Yeah, not everything can be recycled, and things can only be recycled so many times.
Right.
Yeah.
And the current event about China not accepting recyclables, so it's kind of difficult to just recycle nowadays. So I was like, okay, let's think of a name that will like get people's attention and is hip and all that. So I was like, okay, let's call it 5-hour revolution.
And what do the 5Rs stand for, just in case anybody's not aware and listening?
So the 5-hour revolution is refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot.
Right on. And so the three are still there, and the new ones are refuse and rot. What do those two specifically stand for?
So refuse is so like let's say if you went to Starbucks, for example, and they offered to put your drink in a plastic cup. Actually, they wouldn't even offer. You would just like assume they'll put it in a plastic cup.
Yeah.
But your choice would be to refuse it and bring your own cup.
Yeah.
And so that's one way of refusing something.
Or like refusing to use a straw. Or just like
refusing to use a straw or
single-use cutlery. Yeah, that's really cool.
or plastic bags. You can refuse those.
Bring your own tote bag.
Right.
Yeah. That's
So
cool.
any of those you can refuse. And rot is more like composting. So in Vegas specifically, composting is not that common, and so we're trying to raise awareness of composting. Like you can do it at home, or if you don't want to do it at home, you can always give it to a farmer's market.
Right on. No, with composting in particular, I think with people, if you're listening in Nevada or in dry places, you don't think of composting as viable in your area. Is composting viable in areas like Las Vegas?
I think it is because there's a lot of gardening that's happening, and it could be personal gardening, or there's also programs around the valley that do gardening at like low income areas near schools. So they have a community garden for schools there where kids learn how to build a garden. They're educated on where their food comes from or how something is grown. So I feel like in those situations, I think like they need proper soil. So composting is one of those things where anyone can just like do it, and then they can give it to
And
those
then you
kind
can
of
ship it too. You can
gardens.
ship your own compost to areas where it might be needed more, right?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
do that, but I feel like that will be kind of costly. I
Is
don't
it?
know. Like
Oh,
you could do it, but there's a lot of farmer markets around town where they do accept your compost.
that's really cool. I'm gonna start looking into that
Yeah.
myself.
Hmm.
Yeah. Viva La Compost is one that like I've heard about a lot. That they'll like do
Yeah.
like a program to like sell it and stuff. It's
Oh
really
yeah.
cool. Like yeah, like they're starting to pop up more. So like composting is really starting to like to
Hmm.
make waves. I can't wait until that's like. So with
Yeah.
the 5R revolution, do you guys do events here to do more educating with the community? Like, do you guys host things?
Yeah, so this year we're slowly building up. So we're gathering our goals, missions, and things like that. And so we have been going. We have an event at least once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so our last event that we had was at Mount Charleston for Public Lands Day.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was a pretty big event, and
it was
our
huge.
right.
My co-host Catherine and I actually went there too. We were on which part of the area?
We were on Mary Jane Falls
Mary
Trail.
Jane Falls Trail. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you guys were kind of up the canyon. We were
Yeah.
kind of near, like,
We were up Kyle Canyon.
yeah, Kyle Canyon. So, yeah, that was a good. Well, it was a very windy day, and so
It so was.
it was like a hurricane.
It was crazy.
I'm like, what's the point of picking up trash if it's just gonna fly away? Like,
Because
you
they have
know?
the after event lunch, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. Well, everybody was kind of being conscious of that, and they were like getting their food and like running back to their cars to
Yeah.
eat it essentially because they were
Right.
just like, this is gonna blow away everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And I was feeling so sad, but one thing that was cool, everything that flew away, so I would always notice that somebody would go running
Yeah.
to go get it.
Oh.
Like they were like, no,
that's
we're not gonna be
awesome.
counterproductive.
Yeah.
We're going to get the trash because
Yeah.
we're not gonna leave more trash.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, it made me happy.
Yeah, our group, we were like, okay, it's windy, but it's okay, we're still gonna do it. And so then we were like going through the area, and there was no trash, and we were kind of upset. We're like, we're here because we want to pick up trash, but then at the same time, we were happy because, you know, there's no trash. That's a good sign that people are actually disposing their trash properly.
Yeah.
But
And that a lot of people are coming to clean.
right, yeah. And so as we were walking, all the trash was kind of like, there wasn't much, but there was like random pieces of trash, like pipes everywhere and stuff like that, and wood. And I'm like, okay. And then so the trash was like stuck in bushes, and that's where most of the trash is. So it was kind of interesting. I mean, it looks clean, but when you look deeper and deeper, like you can see there's trash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then the biggest issue I've always seen is the microplastics are what end up getting into our water sources, and those are the things that end up killing animals. So
Yeah.
like the smaller plastics matter. You know, I always see when we go to events that a lot of people are like, oh yeah, look at this big old thing, and you know they're
Yeah.
trying to get big stuff that like is like huge garbage, so
Yeah.
it's like almost competitive.
Mhm.
But it's just like get those cigarette butts, get those sticker labels, get those
Mhm.
little bits of plastic bag that are just like ripped apart, because those are the parts that get in the water. They
Yeah.
drift away, they fly away really easy.
Yeah, it's actually pretty crazy how plastic breaks down. So I attended a cleanup a while ago, and it was near the Hoover Dam,
Mhm.
and there was a cup. It was perfectly intact, right? So I went to grab it with the trash picker upper. I don't know what they're called. Trash pickers. So I
Little
grabbed
grabbers.
it, yeah, and it just broke into millions of pieces, and it was a scary thought. Like, I thought it was in perfectly intact plastic cup where I can easily grab it, but it's been there for years because I just touched it a little bit and it cracked. And just picking all those small pieces up, like it's difficult,
Yeah.
And so animals on land and in marine life, like in the sea, like they eat these small things. It's crazy. So I just feel like we should just refuse when we can.
Yeah.
I can add a story. When we were at Mount Charleston, I was helping these ladies who got involved in a little project in a bush because at some point
Yeah.
Some people had
The
come
gender
up,
reveal.
Yeah, someone had come up to the not to the falls, but to the trailhead, and they did a gender reveal party.
Oh
and
my gosh.
they had a whole bunch of mylar balloons everywhere. They had fake flower, like little plastic flower petals everywhere, and it was like,
It was a
there's
girl.
no way we're gonna get it all. But it's like, why would you come up to the mountains and release all this litter that is now never gonna go away?
I thought of like a better solution instead of like doing balloons and confetti, like maybe like let off like a smoke machine or a fog machine, and it has like a pink or a blue or green, yellow, whatever color people want to use to define things.
Something
Yeah.
else I've seen people do to make like confetti and stuff is that they take like legitimate leaves and legitimate flower petals, and they take like a hole puncher.
Oh
and
yeah.
make a bunch of little like bits and pieces, but it's natural material.
It's all
and
flower.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a good way too.
And like a t-shirt cannon or
Yes.
something. Just that'd be cool.
Yeah, I guess people do a lot for pictures nowadays, and it
Yeah.
does cause a lot of waste, and people, I don't know, they need to start realizing how much they're wasting.
I think that we've been like taught that what we do is very minimal.
Uh-huh.
That we just truly believe that what we're doing is minimal. That the cup I threw on the floor, the confetti I wasted at the gender reveal party, all those things are, I'm just some guy, like
Yeah.
my trash isn't going to make an impact.
Right.
But it does, I think so,
It
at
does.
least.
Yeah, and I feel like people, if they see you do it, then, out of like 50 million people that see you, someone will
We'll think it's a great
transition.
idea.
Right. Like, I think one of the things that came to me that I was like, okay, maybe I should be the chairperson of this committee, is that I was at one of the vegan festivals last year, I think, and like I brought my own containers and utensils and my own cup for drinks and things like that, and a lot of the vendors, they were very like understanding of that. Like it was a clean container, and they put my food in the container or on my plate instead of using their things. So, and everyone's like, she brought a plate to the festival? What? That's a household item. What is she doing with that? And I was just like, I want to do this because I want to limit my waste somehow.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like you can make an influence just by doing
Lead
that.
by example.
Yeah.
And then
Lead by
also,
example.
it's the definition of insanity is doing things the same way and expecting a different result. You think that buying plastic cups, buying disposable plates, buying all these things are going to help the environment, even if you're a vegan festival, even though you guys are doing things in the right
Right.
direction, you're still doing things in the same way as people who are wasting.
Right, and you bring up a good point. Is that a lot of like vegans, for example, they do care about animals and the environment, but some of the places like restaurants, they have styrofoams like as to go, and it's kind of defeating the purpose. Like, I mean,
Styrofoam is one of the worst.
right, and it can be recycled, and it breaks up into millions of pieces. It's like, what do you do with this thing? you
Yeah,
know?
and it's toxic if in digestion. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so what do you think can be done? Like with changing people's perceptions and making people habitually change their ways? Like is that part of the staples of the 5 R's revolution, is that you want people to start adapting these things? How do you think that they can do it?
So there's a couple of ways that people can learn. You can watch different documentaries. There's documentaries on Netflix that you can watch. There's Plastic Ocean is one of them, and then Bag It is another one.
That's the one. That's where we met you guys at the
Yeah.
library, is because you guys were doing the showing of Bag It.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a very good documentary. It's very relaxed. It's not like in your face, but this guy basically breaks down like, why do we use plastic? Like, what's the purpose of it if we're only going to use it once in our life and it causes so much damage, And so educating yourself on these issues is a major thing, and then analyzing your own life. Like, everyone lives a different life, right? Some things you can't find you can't find a replacement for it, so you have to use it. I understand that, but it's like taking small steps, like easy steps. Like no one's like pressuring you to like eliminate all sorts of plastic in your life. No, but just start thinking about it. Like, can you find a replacement?
Yeah. No, yeah, and then also I've been thinking a lot more about the aspects of plastic and things that we don't use, like clothes. So many of our clothes end up getting tossed in the trash as well, or can't be used when donated, so they end up in the trash. And they have microfibers made of plastic in them as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's just like it's been implemented almost in every single facet of our lives. This little piece of hard petroleum.
Yeah. It's pretty damaging, and there are some companies that are striving for more environmentally products, but they need to, I don't know, make the change fast. And I don't understand. Maybe I need to do more research about it, but like, why is it taking so long to make the changes?
I think that part of it has to do with the fact that we don't hold the companies accountable for what their customers do for waste. I personally think that like most big 500 companies that produce products with plastic, they should probably have a department in their corporation that is about cleaning up their waste, you know, especially for like sponsored events. Pepsi sponsors so many events and brings in so many of the product that ends up being wasted. It's like if they know what their customers do, then they should be a part of cleaning it up as well, you know, especially when they are directly a part of the event and benefiting from people going to it.
Right.
It's like, it's not just, oh, well, you guys, do it. It's just like, well, you guys bring it and you guys have a product that we can't do much with. So help out as well, especially since they have resources.
Exactly. I agree.
And it would make jobs.
Yeah, it definitely would. And it's ingrained in us for so long. Like growing up, like we didn't think about how much plastic was in the world, and it's like we're older now, and it's becoming a huge issue. Like all the trash that's in the ocean, like, and then all those
Garbage Island.
Yeah, Garbage Island, where I never been to Garbage Island, but if I did, I would have like threw up in the ocean or something.
Actually discovered that a majority of the plastic in the garbage patch is microplastics that float right below it. It's like when you think of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, you think of mounds of plastic just sitting right there on top, when majority of it is this cloud particles of plastic just right underneath. And that's the stuff that the fish is eating and the turtles are eating and everything else is eating. And
they swim through the cloud. And then even if it doesn't, the microplastics also go through the gills. It's just a filter that they swim.
We eat those sea animals, we're eating that plastic too.
Yeah, and I feel like, I feel like people can change. It's just that they have to care about the environment. Like a lot of people straight up tell me like, why should I care? The world's gonna end anyway. Or they're just
doesn't have to.
Yeah. Or they just don't.
That's your mindset.
Right. Or they just don't care. Like they don't care about like if animals are getting are dying or they're becoming extinct. But I do feel like people can change, because think about recycling, for example, like people are just throwing trash on the floor, right? People don't do that anymore. Like if they do, then they're looked down upon, and
People
it's like
on social media is just like, you guys are adults.
And adults do, well, it's common to pick up your trash. But also recycling has been common. Like I talk to a lot of people, and like they ask like, oh, what do you do to minimize your waste? And I'm like, I do this, and they're like, one of the things they mention is like, oh, but I recycle, and I'm like, okay, that's good. Like that's a good action to do, but that's not enough. People are slowly doing things. It just takes time. So, but I guess the more we talk about it, the more actions we do, I think we can help change the world, So what pisses me off is like people who drive like in front of me or on the side of me, they're smoking a cigarette, right? And this is what I don't get. Like, picking up trash is like common, like I said before, like it's frowned upon. But they literally smoke their cigarette butts, and once they're done, they just throw it like it's no one's business, you know? And that's one of the things that are causing a lot of like environmental damage is all these cigarette butts. Like, you find them everywhere. Everywhere. It's crazy.
There's over 5,000 chemicals, and it's all collecting in the filter after you're done smoking.
Yeah.
So, like, you literally throw that on the ground, and those chemicals leach into the ground. I have been dealing with cigarette smoking addiction for a very long time, and luckily I've never been a car smoker because I just, for an upholstery reasons. So, like, I luckily have never contributed to the flicking out the window cigarettes. Just on principle of never smoking in my car. But, like, I hate that. Like, when I see people just flicking it on the curb, like, next to a trash can with an ashtray. Like, it'll be one of those covered trash cans with the ashtray on top. And the person will just finish it and flick it. And the trash can's right here. I'm just like, 2 steps, dude. 2 steps, and you didn't have to be, you know, such a prick about it. Like,
Like, it's not that hard to dispose of a cigarette.
Like, even as me, like, I'm gonna walk right here and I'm gonna put it away. And I mean, granted, I should just cut the habit 100%. Everybody. That's like the part. It's like, it's very common. People like tell you that, hey, well, just don't smoke cigarettes. But also, it's just like, waste them appropriately. But once they get to the dump, like, a lot of trash also, when it goes to the landfills and goes to dumps and things, the top layers of trash get blown away by high winds, and they leave the dump and go back to where they were. And some of these dumps are near water sources, so then like, trash gets dumped in a landfill, and then trash gets blown away into the ocean from there, and they're bringing it there. So it just it seems like there's a giant infrastructure problem that we have, where we created these large permanent structures for how we run our society, but didn't think about what their long-term effects are going to be. I think we just thought that they were going to work. Like, 400 years later, 500 years later, the dumps are great. You know, throwing trash in the trash can is great. Yeah, plastic is still great.
Another issue with the landfills is that all of that stuff, it eventually leaks down and, you know, absorbs into our water table, the ground, so it just depletes our water supply and our soil quality.
And, you know, you really have to be an individual where you should not care what other people think, right? And I'm observant in a lot of events that happen, and like I think about like how people try to form their opinion. It's most likely because everyone else believes it, they believe it too. But I feel like, no, why not think about it, and why not stand out and change people's views? I mean, it's okay, it's embarrassing, but you're doing it for a good cause, you know?
So just today, when I was at lunch, I decided to order my drink. The guy was about to set a straw down, and I was like, no straw. And then my sister and her fiance also went, no straw, you know? And it's just the little thing. But I know them. They both would have just let it happen. They both would have had the straw there. Maybe they would have used it. Maybe they wouldn't have. But the restaurant, after putting the straw down, won't take it back. They will throw it away. They can't, just because... What if you were handling? They'll throw it away. So that was really cool. Just like the fact that I decided no straw, 2 other people said no straw. Maybe they'll habitually keep doing it. You know, maybe I have to, you know, nag them a little longer. But still, like, it's something that, like, you have to eventually be that one person that will do it. Because I don't know why. I don't know why we're trained that way. To only do things based off of popularity and reputation. So it's like, if something's popular, I will do it. Or if I see somebody with a good reputation do it, I will do it. But doing it yourself, I don't know. Like, people just, they never think that either they could do it correctly or that their impact is just so minimal on the thing that they want to do. You know, that's why people don't write when they should or do things when they should. They're just like, either no one's going to read it, or if they do read it, it's probably going to be crap. You know, like, you just have to be the person who just does it anyway. You know? And that brings me to the question: what got you into environmentalism in the first place? And with the 5 Rs and the Sierra Club.
So I watched Baggett like years ago with my sister, and we watched it. We were kind of blown away with what was happening, and then I was just like, okay. So and then weeks go by. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do anything. And then I was like, okay, let me watch some more. Maybe it's gonna get ingrained in my head because I'm just like everyone else. Like at the end of the day, why should I care? But when you keep watching it, that's when you change your behavior, and it's like you could make a difference. Like, and then you look up facts of like, if you don't use straws for a whole year, how much can you make an impact? And those things really get you, So the more I watched it, the more I was like, okay, I need to change my behavior. Like that's the first step. So then I was like, okay, I slowly eliminated stuff, and like me and my sister and my mom, we went to the recycling center where they do a great tour of the recycling. And my mom, like, she changed her behavior too just by looking at all that. It was amazing. Like, she was like, why do you care so much? And like when she actually saw the impact, then she started to change her behavior.
Yeah.
So then we all have the same mindset, and I think that's what helps is like you have people that are on the same wavelength, And then I joined the recycling committee, and then the recycling committee became 5R Revolution when I became chair. So and now we have a Facebook page, and I try to incorporate whatever we do like in my aspects in life too. Like should I get this, should I not get this, do I really need it type thing. So that's how it happened, and every day we try to make changes,
like I'm trying to find ways to reuse. Like that's one of the R's that I try to like get to more, like to use disposable Tupperwares more, to use things that are containers just one more time, 2 more times. Do something with the coffee can. Do something.
Right. Mm-hmm.
No, and then anything like do you guys do classes or to like really get people like involved? Like I wish there was something like an at-home training class, like maybe like a setup to like show people a kitchen, like how can we make this kitchen like a 5Rs kitchen, like that'd be really cool.
Maybe we should have you do that as our project.
Hey, I would totally. Always ready to dip my feet in more stuff.
So we are trying to like reach different audiences in the Las Vegas area specifically, and we do have a Facebook page where like we list our events and things like that. But giving tips, we do have a flyer also, and it's on our Facebook page as well, on like simple ways that you can like implement the 5
Facebook
Rs.
page? Like just specifically, is it 5R Revolution?
It's 5R Revolution Las Vegas on Facebook. So,
question: is it in your like at thing? Is it LV or is it Las Vegas? So people know how to search you.
It's LV, I think.
Okay.
Yes. That's a good tip, and I will bring that to our next meeting. So we do need more volunteers added as it is. So every third Tuesday of every month, we have meetings. Right now it's at Sunrise Coffee.
Oh, I love that place.
Yeah, it's an awesome place. And they do have mason jars for cold drinks, That's one of the things I like, have my reviews on coffee shops. If they have a mason jar for your drink.
They have like a method for you to actually live in the way that you like to live.
Right. That's the businesses you should be supporting. So, so if anyone's interested in that and getting involved. And
what other events do you have coming up? I know that you got the third Thursday of every month, but is there anything else coming up this month or next month? I know you guys like to do at least one a month.
Right. So next month we're planning to do a wetlands cleanup.
Oh my gosh, I love going to the wetlands. I hate when I see trash. I've been there a few times just with friends and seeing trash and been like, who would litter here?
Yeah.
The big old grass and the water and all the bugs. Like, like you're in like a bog in the middle of a desert
I
and
know.
you want to litter?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I know a lot of people camp there, and it's like they're not responsible for their own trash, I guess.
I think the other problem is that that's where the Las Vegas wash goes through. So anything that gets caught up
In the water.
yeah, it makes
It might not even be from somebody at the yeah, so it's important.
From Centennial Hills or wherever
Yeah.
the beginning of the Las Vegas wash starts, and eventually makes its way all the way down there on its way to Lake Mead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how trash travels.
Well, you'll probably see us there at the cleanup for the wetlands. That's for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but what I was going to say, you were saying that you guys want more volunteers, and that's great because it helps keeping these communities growing and things. Are there other organizations besides the Sierra Club that you guys work closely with in
yes.
partnership?
So we try to join different organizations. So our last organization that we partnered up with was Clean the World organization.
Awesome.
Yeah, and that organization is awesome because they take discarded hotel amenities and then they like repurpose them, or they like melt the soap, for example, and like they break it down and then they like recreate it using sanitation solution and stuff like that, and then they ship it out to countries that have limited access to sanitary. Yeah.
Wow, that's
sanitation.
really cool, and that is a big guilt thing, especially for people who live in Las Vegas, is the fact that our casino industry creates probably millions of pounds of waste every single year.
Yeah, it's crazy how much waste they do produce, and like even they are doing good by like eliminating straws, but then they have other things that are going on that they can eliminate. So when I was in Taiwan, like I was at a hotel, and most of the hotels I've seen, they had like those big dispensers for shampoo, body wash, and conditioner, and it's just a big dispenser, so you just like pump whatever you need and then use it, and whoever is there just refills it. So I think that's a better solution, and I think they should implement that in Las Vegas.
Yeah, definitely. The only thing is just like, I just think my initial reaction was just like, oh, what if they do something like the lick the ice cream people? It's just like put something in there so they can't open and tamper with it.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that about our society, about how like we're like starting, we want to do good things, but at the same time we want to do awful things for clout.
People are bored.
Yeah.
What can we say?
What are some other like areas of Las Vegas that really, in your guys' opinion, need some work when it comes to being more environmentally friendly? Like just like in Las Vegas, because I mean, you guys do work usually just locally. Yeah, so like in Las Vegas, the casinos are an issue, but like, is there any other places that are specifically like a Las Vegas, issue that we can like work on as a community?
Oh, another big one is, that's a good question.
Thank you.
Another big one is concerts and festivals. So we are a tourist destination and major hub of big festivals that are going on in the Las Vegas community, and those things alone cause so much waste, and all the promotional items that you get from different type of runs, like that's a huge waste too. Like you get a plastic bag of all like coupons and like things that you might not be using, and it's good to refuse those. I think that's one of the key things. But I think that's an area that we will focus on next year probably.
I do remember that when we first met at the Thursday meeting, that one of the people that showed up to the meeting had like a flyer for a politician, and it was a really interesting thing that she was saying, but you knew hands down that you weren't going to look at the flyer after being handed it.
Right.
So you refused it. And my flyer is sitting there not being read, not being used. And I'm just like, why did I have this?
Right.
Where is this going to go? In the trash? I should have refused it.
Yeah.
And and the conventions, like I've been to a few conventions, like I remember like maybe like a few years ago there was Free Enterprise Day. It was like this like 3-day event at the Orleans, and I went there. One of my friends wanted to show me it, and everywhere I went, people were just handing flyers, flyer after flyer after flyer, and some of these people were getting handed flyers and just immediately just tossing it.
Yeah.
Like not like, and then like I sometimes see like at festivals like the Renaissance Festival. I go to that one a lot. People will get a flyer or get something from someone and they'll just toss it on the floor. It's like if you knew that you weren't going, that you didn't want it, why'd you take it?
Yeah.
It's not rude to say no.
Right.
You know?
I think a lot of people are scared to say no because it's just that, you know how some of us are, we're just like saying yes to everything, saying yes to life, but you know, there's certain things where you should have the power to say no, you know, and I get weird reactions when I do say no to them, like, and I do it in a polite way, but they're just like, she said no, she's not interested in our business, like, you know, and it's like, that's
Don't
not
take it personally.
Yeah, like we live in an age where we can literally Google anything. So
why do I need a paper flyer
right.
to remind me I'm gonna hang it up somewhere and be like, ooh, and on this day, paper flyer.
Right.
Yeah.
I think those days are gone where it's like
exactly.
you need a flyer to remember things, but no, like all businesses they have social media where you can like look up their page and then
like when I see newspapers, like on newspapers on people's driveways, and then like you'd see like newspapers on the street. I'm like, is this just from somebody's driveway and like they didn't even want it, they didn't even get it,
right?
Like because everything in this newspaper is probably like a 10-minute read online, you know, like
yeah, like if you wanted to do marketing for something, digital marketing is very popular and paper marketing is not going to be popular. It's dying out. Like newspapers, for example, like okay, there's the older population that still relies on the newspapers because that's how they were grown up with newspapers, you know, and I get it, like it's better to read a newspaper physically than looking it on the screen, for example. But
no, and then they're devoted to the journalists that report on the newspaper too.
Right.
So yeah, like it is something that we have to transition, but I wish there was just a way to transition that stuff faster.
Right, and like you could like you can refuse newspapers, of course, and then you can go online. You could low the dimness of your screen so you don't get eye problems, and then every couple of seconds stretch your eyes. So
totally.
you wouldn't need the physical paper in that sense, you know, if you're worried about that. You can tell I was worried about it. That's why I brought it up.
No, the eye thing. No, yeah, my eyes strain too. Like I think I have like an area where like things will just start getting blurry as I read. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah,
right. I sometimes will not use my phone for a while because like I'll start to get like strain like on the corners of my eyes because of the amount of time I spend on my phone. So I kind of am grateful for that because it's just like, oh cool, I'm not going to use my phone for a little while.
I just don't understand the people that are like they have their phones and it's like on the highest light and it's like why do you need it in the highest light? There's like light around you. So I don't understand that, but to each is their own.
I know, right? So there's been a lot of stuff going on environmentally in like the news and the press, specifically Greta Thunberg coming from, she's from Switzerland, yeah?
I think it's
Sweden, Switzerland. She is from Europe.
Girl or some bullshit like that.
What
this guy on Fox News like was talking shit about her and it was just like you really just attacked.
She's a child. Yeah, like
oh my god.
I don't think he's allowed on Fox News anymore because that was just like a step too far for Fox.
Even Fox, like like it's just like no, bro, like
you got too far.
Yeah, and that was what I was gonna get to. That a lot of people like what she's doing. A lot of people like the amount of awareness that she's bringing. How she really is getting younger people, you know, sensationalized on, you know, being environmentally helpful. But a lot of people actually are saying that she is, you know, being used or is being manipulated by her family, by marketers and stuff to do these things. Like, have you had like an opinion about her, about like the methods that she's using to get herself out there to spread the word? You know, like, what's your opinion?
Funny you asked that. So sorry, I didn't keep up on this. But
Yeah.
what is she doing?
Oh yeah, Greta Thunberg she's a 16-year-old girl from, I'm just gonna keep it at Europe, and she sailed over here on a solar powered boat. Like, I mean, isn't that just a sailboat?
Okay, look, backtrack. Last year in August, she single-handedly started the student climate strike.
Oh.
Every Friday, she essentially started Fridays for Future.
Mm-hmm.
Every Friday, she would walk out of school and she would do a protest in front of the Swedish Parliament building. And in the beginning, like, nobody supported her. Her parents were like, "That's all you. We're not supporting. Like, you can do it if you want it, but you know, you're taking yourself. That's all you." But slowly over time, more students from her school started coming with her, and then she started talking with more people, and then finally people started listening. And it's been a year, and just, you know, a couple weeks ago we had the global student climate strike, and now it's this massive movement. And she did it to talk about climate change, because her whole mindset was, well, one, she was, you know, suffering from very severe climate anxiety, and second, it's just like, why are these adults telling us, oh, you need to go to school so you have a good future and you need to learn science and stuff? And she's just like, well, one, our own leaders are not listening to scientists, and two, because of their inaction, we don't have a future. So she was starting to, you know, get all this climate anxiety. So that's why she's like, I'm going to do something about it. So she started the climate strike. And just recently, like a month or so ago, she came to the United States so that she's essentially like, she spoke at the UN, she spoke with all these different people and met with all these different organizations, and she was also in New York for the global student climate strike. And when she came here, she was very adamant that I'm not taking an airplane because airplanes are horrendous as far as emissions on the environment. So, and she wasn't going to take a cruise ship either. So she sought out, I don't know if it was zero emissions or just low emissions, but she sought out otherwise low emission transportation method to come here.
Oh.
So.
How long did it take her to get here anyway?
I want to say it took, don't quote me on it, I want to say it was about a week or two.
Okay.
Give or take.
It must have been fun though. I've always wanted to sail across the ocean. That seems like a lot of fun.
But it's kind of scary. You're in the middle of the ocean at night.
I know,
A storm could hit at any moment.
That's adventure though. I mean, why do you go to a roller coaster?
I don't.
Oh, no.
So
Why do you watch that?
But she's been getting a lot of flack from people because they're just like, well, you're not a scientist. Why should we listen to you? And they're ignoring the fact that what she has been saying pretty much this whole time is, listen to the scientists. Like, she is at the UN, and you know it's been over a year since she's been doing this, and like you can tell that she's getting exhausted. She's a 16-year-old girl bearing the weight.
She wants to go back to school.
Yeah, she's literally at the UN saying like, why are you having us children come? Why do you want to listen to us? Listen to the scientists. She's like, I shouldn't be here. I should be back across the ocean. I should be at school, and instead you're having me come here to talk to you guys. Why don't you just listen to scientists? And like she's practically in tears. And of course you had all these conservative males that were just like attacking her and, you know, going over, why are we listening to this little girl who's screaming at us? And, and they're just like, who's paying for her and all this stuff. And it's like, if you read her statements on everything that's going on, she's not doing this for money. She's literally said that there was one organization that she and her family paired up with. They found out that they were making money off of her, and she immediately cut ties with them. The only money that I understand that her and her family has made is that, like I said, her parents originally wanted nothing to do with it. They're just like, that's all you. And then she changed their entire outlook, and they're just like, oh my God, this is a huge thing. She has Asperger's.
Wow.
That's a big thing. She considers that her superpower because that allows her to talk to people in a different way and not be, you know, constrained by societal expectations.
Right.
And the only thing her and her parents have made money off of is that her parents wrote a children's book essentially about Asperger's, and I believe about climate change or one or the other. I can't remember exactly. But they wrote a children's book about essentially her journey. And that's how they made money. But she is not getting paid. She's not, you know, some corporate pawn as everyone is making her out to be. And one thing that I find very interesting by all those people who say like, oh, she's working for these corporations who are paying for all these climate studies and stuff that are pushing this climate hoax. they don't consider the fact that these oil companies, these agribusiness companies, they're the ones who have the most to lose from climate change action. So if anything, they're the ones who are paying to fund the studies that show that climate change is a hoax.
Yeah, so I just think that there's just so much that is going on where I don't think it's a hoax. Like, you can visually see the problem. So I think she's doing a good thing.
Yeah.
And she's a young person. She can influence other young people. And I just feel like she's so passionate about it. It doesn't, okay, so what if she got paid by someone, right?
Yeah.
But her reasoning is not like, it's not, I think it's innocent, you know, like she's doing it out of a good place. Like, people, like our politicians should pay attention to her because America, for example, is like, we love our country, right? Like, but environmentally, we're still behind versus other countries. They're progressing to a more sustainable future. We are still behind.
Yeah.
And so I think she's doing a good job talking to, coming to America and changing their viewpoints, because she just made so much change within her own community, her own parents that were like, oh, you know, you should be in school instead of doing this. Like, she's an inspiration, you know?
Yeah. And my main point in asking it was just like, instead of whether or not she is being paid, whether or not she is being led by her parents, or whether or not, you know, any of the things, why are we against it? You know,
Right.
like, why, like, it's like, okay, let's just say she is getting paid.
Right.
Why is her time not allowed to be paid?
Exactly.
You know, like every single person, even in our capitalist society, they always say, if you're good at something, never do it for free.
Right.
And then
Right.
this girl is good at speaking. She's good at making people passionate about the environment. Why isn't she getting paid for it?
Right.
You know, she's under 16 years old. I mean, under 18 years old. Her parents have to be a part of that. So it's just like the idea that her parents are pushing her to be like this environmental talking piece. What if, okay, let's just say it is
Right.
an environmental talk.
Right.
Why does it matter when what she is saying is not false? Every single reporter, every single person that has been against this, they never refute what she is saying. They only refute who she is. You know, they only refute the fact that she is a child. They'll only say, oh, well, she has Asperger's, and so some people don't have respect for people who have that, or they just think that it means that she's not as intelligent or not as aware, or who knows what the reason why anybody would attack the disability, or in her sense, her superpower. You know, like, if she's still able to articulate things, what's wrong? You know, if she's still able, well, her age, she should be in school. Why isn't there an adult in America doing this? You know, why is it her? And why are we mad at her for being that person to do it? You know, and just in a sense, like, I wonder, why is it that activism like hers is looked down upon? You know?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, if she, like, for me, I think it was an extreme move to go on a solar boat, but I get where she's coming from. But if she didn't do that extreme move, she wouldn't have gotten that media attention.
Yeah.
You know, she would have just been someone else. You know, like, the media would more like focus on Kim Kardashian and what she's eating instead of like this girl. You know, so it's good she did that. Like,
yeah, she did something drastic.
Right, and of course everyone's like, whatever, like, whoever has a different opinion, like, they're always gonna get bashed, right? Like, so yes, I feel like what she's doing is a great thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that activism is and getting media attention, not just necessarily media attention, but just attention from others to get that ball rolling is important. And do you guys do any like, I wanted to like bring this back, is like, do you guys do any things that is in that facet where it's activism, protests, or anything like that, where you guys are really like rebelling against, you know, or like moving the revolution for the 5 R's, for the environmentalism?
So the organization itself, we're more about community outreach for now. So it's the members that have been consistent are me, my sister Richa, Tori, who's our marketing director, and
Both of them are amazing, by the way. Like, your sister, when she was like talking in the meeting, she was just so on her shit. Like, yeah.
yeah, she's a
Yeah.
boss.
Yeah, and so is and Tori, she just had all the information
Yeah.
at hand, anything that you guys were trying to talk about. She's just so
Right.
great. You guys are a really great team.
Yeah.
I love watching you guys interact.
And Catherine has been with us too for
Yeah.
a couple of meetings as well. So
Get involved.
there's 4 females. We want more people to come, and we're open to all ages, all groups. Doesn't matter where you're from. If you care about it, you have your support system right here because we're here for you, and we're open to new ideas and legislation. So back to that question is. We're not experienced in that very well, but we're slowly learning on how to like write a letter to your senator and stuff like that. So we're slowly educating ourselves on that. But we want to protest and we want to do more activist things and being out in the community, but we just need to be more educated on how to do that.
Yeah. And then I think that's also a part of our like culture here, at least in Nevada. I don't know if I can speak for the rest of the United States, but like being a part of activism and trying to change things locally. I was never educated on any of that growing up or, or anything like that. Like activism always seemed like something that people who are close to being politicians. Like well, that's like how they made it seem in high school, And then they made it seem when I was a kid. I was talking to Kat about this. When I was in school, like I always thought that they always made it seem, and by they I mean all the adults, made it seem in culture and media, made it seem that picking up trash is something that you do if you're a criminal. Like they always showed it as like orange jumpsuited people shackled up.
Yeah.
Picking up trash, and then like a family drives by and they're like, see, you stick in school and stop hanging out with those bad people, or you'll be picking up trash on the side of the road. It's just like, I think we should still just go pick up trash on the side of the road.
Right.
It's just like, even if I'm not, it's like, why are we saying that only bad people are like going to be picking up trash to make up for being bad? Isn't it bad that we're not just doing that? That we're not just making the world better and like cleaning up our oceans. Yeah, like do you guys do anything like outside of Nevada? Have you guys like gone to any events outside of the Sierra area?
No, not yet, since this is our year of just like focusing on the Las Vegas community. So we haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Yeah.
But maybe in the future, like a couple years from now or next year. I don't know. But yeah, so right now we're just like focused on Las Vegas community and like changing people's mindsets. I mean, since we've been on a lot of events every month, it's like the turnout is fluctuating, and some days it's like very low, some days it's very high, and or some months, not days. But yeah, I've just noticed that there's small numbers of people that are interested in this topic, and yeah, it's not only me, but there's a lot of people.
Yeah, and it is growing. So that's like, it's giving me a lot of optimism. This last year, I remember last year I thought, man, people are just so nihilistic. How are we ever going to actually get anybody involved? Like even one person,
Right.
Like I just had like this whole idea that I'm like, everybody just wants to be an Instagrammer, and like an Instagramming just means just nothing, just like showing a product and like being like, aren't I amazing? Me. And then it's just like, and then like just turning it off, or being like a Twitch streamer and just being like, who cares about the real world, virtual world,
Right.
and just showing games all day. I'm just like, how am I gonna get anybody ever involved in anything? Like you said earlier, nobody even wants to leave their house.
Right.
Nobody wants to leave their house.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of like talking out in the community just to say who we are, getting more volunteers with us. But I've noticed that UNLV has a sustainability club, and then CSN has an eco club. So they're influencing their college in a way by having these clubs. So it's a small number, but they're out there.
Have you ever thought about like going to like the eco club or the UNLV one and like creating a partnership with them in the 5 R's?
I was part of their club before, but yeah, we need to talk to them more about like collaborating in events and things.
Because like I think that like these things can cross, like Millennials in Motion, 5 R's, like why not intermingle? Why not be a part of multiple things? Because like in the end we're just trying to network to do one thing.
Yeah.
Which is save the fucking world.
Right. Yeah, you bring up a very good point. Yeah. And I agree with you, but like we should all work together instead of against each other in a way. Like, oh, our organization's better. No, it's really like we just need to collaborate with each other.
Talk more. I really want to do another one again, like where we were talking about earlier, like really take that walk in the park. That sounds lovely. And like
with like classical music in the background.
And then we see some trash and we just pounce on it.
Yeah. Let's go do a park cleanup and then just record whatever we talk about.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be down with it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Hell yeah.
Let us know if that's something you guys want. We'll totally do it.
We talked to, actually, City of Las Vegas actually reached out to us about sometime in the next couple of months setting up an adopt-a-spot somewhere downtown in the Arts District where that would be our spot, and once a month we go and we clean it and maintain it, and after 6 months you're like, you get a sign with your name on it, and I was just like, well, that sounds awesome. And we also try to do at least, one event a month or so I was just like, yeah, like let's get the community out, let's clean everything. So we could also do it during that too.
Yeah, that's
downtown,
awesome.
Pick up some trash, talk about the environment.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of places there's trash actually, and people don't see it, and it's like especially when you enter the freeway, like you see it on the bridges, like all that trash that's accumulating, and it's like. I guess people don't pay attention to those kind of things. And it's like,
or like how you guys were saying earlier about how the trail that you guys went to on Mount Charleston, there wasn't a lot of big stuff, but there's a lot of little things. Like we could spend an hour at a park just picking up cigarette butts.
Yeah.
No,
just literally,
butts, and we could fill a whole entire thing.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting because like for one of my birthdays, we went to do a cleanup. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of people showed up. My friends were like, I'm busy, but I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm gonna do this, and then so it was a small group of us, and we went to Sunset Park, and we just cleaned a section, like a very small section, and we already had 4 bags full of trash. Like that's insane. And
like Sunset Park's not even that big of a park, like in the grand, like it's like 4 bags of trash.
Yeah, in that small area.
Yeah, and just a section of it. Yeah, it's like it's everywhere, and then that stuff gets into water as well. It will fly away. That's the part where I think people don't pay attention, is just like, well, I don't live next to the ocean, or I don't live next to farmland, or like a well source or anything, so why does my trash matter? We're in a city. It's like, because trash moves, everything moves. And then people do things based off of popularity and reputation. So like you said about the overpass and trash, maybe that trash wasn't even there a week ago, but people see trash there and they dump new trash. Old trash blows away, new trash is there. People pick up some of the trash, but people still dump trash in the same place from just remembering that trash is there. Mm-hmm. It's just these small little things that I feel like people can do to change.
Right. Absolutely.
If we go to the park, we go for wherever, and we're picking up stuff, like not just are people in general going to see us doing that, children are going to see us, and children are the ones that really go for things and really change their parents' minds in general, everyone around them. So who knows? Maybe some kids will be like, I'd rather go help these people pick up trash.
Kids, your opinion matters.
Yeah.
And we're gonna instill that, that mindset in them, and then they're gonna grow up, and then they're gonna teach their kids how to do it, and it's a domino effect. We all learn from each other. It's like the, monkey see, monkey do saying.
Yeah.
We are monkeys. Well, apes. I always forgot what the difference was. And then somebody told me tails, no tails.
We have common ancestors.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a terrible as a monkey. I can't even climb a tree.
I am vertically challenged. So, like, with the future, like, we're talking about, like, things that we want to do in the future. What does the 5R revolution, like, have for, like, the coming year, like, as far as, like, your guys' like, projected growth, and, like, the things that you guys want to do?
Yeah, so one of the things is promoting our committee. That's promoting it, causing awareness in the community, doing more events, different types of events where we're actually educating the community. I mean, we are, but it's not like what you suggested earlier, like with activism or having like a kitchen and like educating them.
Oh, well, that would just be like a fun, cool class to do. That would
yeah, and that's a good idea. We need to be more out there, and so that's one of the things that we're focused on, and also alliances, like different community partners and leaders, and if someone wants us at an event, we'll be there, representing.
Oh, yeah. And then you did say that you guys have the Facebook page, but is there other sources of media, other platforms that you guys are on that people can find you at?
So we're all kind of like, we're not big social media fans. So
right on.
Right now,
no, we're trying. We're like, we're in the same boat. Because we're coming from a place where just like social media toxic, but it's just like social media necessary.
Yeah, like some of us are millennials. So it's like half of our lives we didn't even have like technology in our lives. So it's like, it's kind of hard to adapt, But unfortunately we just have Facebook and for now.
Yeah, cool. Well, hopefully you guys keep growing and hopefully things like keep getting bigger. Is there any like closing comments that you'd like to make about the 5R Revolution or the Sierra Club? How you can get involved or anybody that we can ask for?
So if you go on our Facebook page, you can ask us any questions, and someone will be there to answer your questions. And if you want to join Sierra Club, they always have meetings coming up, and if you're interested in the meetings, you can go on their Facebook page, because that's also where you can find more information about the events.
Yeah, and like you said before, every third Thursday
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Every third Tuesday, scratch that, on the Sunrise Coffee near the Sunset Park. I love that place.
At 6 o'clock, yep.
At 6 o'clock, awesome.
Yeah. So I guess what I would like to say is everyone can make a difference, and you should be thinking more about the environment instead of yourselves, And I know sometimes that's hard to do because of daily stress, but when you do have that free time, think about what you're doing to the environment, and if you can reduce it anyhow, And there's tons of resources online. Like if there's something that you don't know how to dispose of it properly, or if you don't know if you should buy it, you can message us and we'll help you out, or or you can Google it.
Oh yeah, awesome. And that's exactly the point, educating others, and then also don't be afraid to educate yourself, right?
Right. Yeah. And don't afraid to say your opinion, and don't afraid to say no to something, refusing something, and just be an individual.
Yeah, and do things that stand out even if no one else is doing it, right?
Right.
Yeah. One thing I've been doing more recently is whenever I go take my dog out for a walk, I bring a picker and I bring a reusable bag with me. I've stopped using it because I don't get plastic bags from the store anymore. I bring a reusable bag that's washable, and I put bottles and cans that I find on my walk. And then I recycle the cans and bottles, and then I just wash the bag, and then I can use it again next walk.
See?
So just you add something onto your otherwise daily routine that you can incorporate.
Right. You bring up a very good point. Yeah.
Make I agree. Out of it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that we've been having such a great conversation.
Yeah, it was very fun. You guys are awesome.
I know. Thank you again, Mhansi, for coming in. This has been Conversations with the Community, and this has been Mhansi with 5R Revolution and with the Sierra Club. Thank you guys again, and we'll see you again next time. Peace!
Bye. Hey everyone, this is Kat from Millennials in Motion magazine. Thank you so much for listening to our third Conversations with the Community podcast with Mhansi from 5R Revolution. We hope you learned a lot about their group, the environment, how to reduce your plastic waste, and more.
and we hope you will get involved with them in the future. If you enjoyed this video and what we do, please like it and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to check us out on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you support what we're doing and the content that we make, please check out our Patreon community and see how you can help us grow on our journey. Thank you again for listening. Until next time, I am Kat from Millennials in Motion magazine, and this is Conversations with the Community.